Alicia, Nicole Waters, and I'm so excited today to have this call with her and to share with you all as we get ready to talk about how to breathe, birth, and receive 5 cornerstones to birthing your entrepreneurial endeavors with ease, support, and success. And so it's really funny because I myself just finished doing a lot of this, birthing a new project. And so Alicia and I have had conversations back and forth about this, and so it's so appropriate to talk about this today as we have had what we call Labor Day here in the United States for those of you who are outside of the country. Labor Day occurred earlier this month here. It's usually the first Monday of the month. And, on that day she wrote an article, and I sent that all out to you guys probably yesterday. Sent out the article about laboring your entrepreneurial success, and what does that look like, and how do you want to do that. And so I am really excited to share this journey with you as we talk today about how we're going to learn the importance of practicing receivership as your business ally, and then also mastering the art of Entrepreneurial Lamaze for aligning and being correctly positioned for birthing your next level of self and success, or self and service, actually. And then we're also going to discover the importance of reconnecting to your Spirit Trinity for your business advancements, and discovering why and how business birthing showers can advance your community, building intentions along with elevating your income. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about how to give birth to your business or projects with ease and receive your harvest from your efforts. So, often, we're birthing or launching any business. And so, much like launching any business or any project or any product that you're doing is very, very metaphorically related to how we birth a child. I firsthand can agree to that. So it has its joys, it has its pains, it has its commitments of time and its resources. And just like every mother wishes for the perfect ideal experience of total well-being and support throughout her process, most women entrepreneurs long to create that same ideal experiences for launching their new business endeavors. So today we're going to learn how the 5 cornerstones of birthing your entrepreneurial endeavors can help you launch with more ease, support, and success. And so without further ado, I am going to introduce our speaker here. I actually met Alicia through Facebook probably back in May. She was on one of my telesummits, and she was probably one of the forefront leaders. I say leaders because she is definitely a leader, who would always just comment on each of the speakers. She's very, very uplifting, is always seeing the gifts and everything, just a beautiful, beautiful spirit. She is a cross-industry entrepreneur who is passionate about cross-pollinating and watering humanity at large through her gifts using conscious multiplicity. She serves in roles such as cross-industries journalist, entrepreneurial event planner, business renovations consultant, transformational speaker, and trainer for diverse industries. She is a published author of over 30 books, get that, and is the CEO of her own empire, Alicia Waters Cross Industries. And I want to give a warm, beautiful welcome to my guest speaker today, Alicia Nicole Waters. Welcome, Alicia.
Thank you so much, Tomasa. It is such a pleasure to be here with you and your community, and I thank you for such a wonderful, warm welcome. And I have to also say to you that your essence is so unique, and I love your brilliance and always being able to be connected with you in your energy. And I also want to offer my congratulations to you for the birthing of your newest product. Yay.
Well, thank you. It very much like a mother being in labor, because I've had two daughters that I birthed many, 2 decades ago. But, it all feels so familiar.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I would love, before we even begin, I always love my speakers to share your journey of how you've gotten to where you are today, and how, where you are today, and then how it might not have always been that way, and then how you've gotten here today.
Absolutely. And if I can, Tomasa, do you mind if I invite the listeners to kind of go on what I call an accelerated time travel as I tell my story, that we'll travel into the past, and we're going to be in the space as if we're watching a movie or a documentary that sort of opens up with a scene from a more recent time in present moment. It's going to lead up to the present moment of me being able to share part of my journey of where I am now, and then there'll be sort of a transitioning that will travel into the past to a scene, and there'll be sort of a caption that appears that says something like 5 years ago, and then I'll begin to share the journey of how I ended up where I am now. Would that be fine?
That would be wonderful. That would be excellent. I love how you just, take us on this time and space travel with you. So yes, let's do that.
Well, great. And what I would like to do in the present moment is, since we are going to be talking about breathing and birthing and receiving, I like to start off as we go into this time travel that we would take 3 deep breaths, and they can just be natural breaths. And as I begin to render what will be like an accelerated narration from a scene of a recent moment in time, and if you're not familiar with my features, I would just like for you to imagine a woman who is sitting in an office chair, who is rested, and she's in a captivated state of reflection, while being in total awe of the divine unfolding over the past year of her entrepreneurial journey. This has been a year in business for lifestyle renovations and renovations for her business, and she is nearing the completion to fully birth within the next 2 months her dream enterprise. And as she is reflecting, as you are seeing this imagery in your mind's eye, she's also experiencing a deep sense of appreciation and gratitude for every person, every support system, every process of this journey that has now yielded her at her highest levels of personal, professional, and spiritual transformation, so that she can now show up in the world to serve and mentor the masses at a higher level. And now this scene begins to transition into another glimpse of a more recent moment, of seeing this woman in a state of celebration and unspeakable joy, while she is once again reflecting on the divinity of how she co-created with Spirit to figure out a way to begin birthing her endeavors with more ease. How she's excited because she figured out a way to publish almost 40 mini-book projects in less than 9 months with ease, and 18 of which were published within a 31-day period of time. Again, she is excited because she has figured out a way to start birthing her endeavors, again, with more ease through simplifying her efforts after making everything, and I do mean everything, so hard over the last 5 years. Over the last 5 years, when she was building 3 businesses, producing shows for 2 radio summits, homeschooling, you name it, serving in ministry, and the list goes on. And not to forget to mention during this time of all the busyness, all the health crisis that she manifested because of making everything so hard. So again, you are witnessing a woman who is in extreme appreciation as she continues reflecting over the process of her newly renovated essence and the soon completed launching of her multi-level empires. And this is going to allow her to embody all of her talents and cross-training efforts to show up in the world and serve as her true, authentic, evolutionary expression. She is birthing her movement from a place of her authentic soul, the movement of the total me empire, the total me empire, the total mastered essence, mastered energy, mastering ease, that type of empire. And she is ready to help others birth their success with more ease. And now, we quickly transition to the scene where the caption reads, 5 years earlier. And this begins our accelerated time travel back into the past, beginning from January 2009 until present, which at this time I will be sharing in first person. So in 2009, I began a small coaching and consulting platform that was called the Bridge Connection, where I served as a leadership transition coach and a spiritual entrepreneur developer. And my primary focus at that time was helping women in leadership roles connect to their true value and their next levels of self through personal and inner game mastery, also while helping them to develop or advance their businesses. And then I later discovered, when I looked at my business ultrasound, because I had been sleepwalking in my business during that time, my business ultrasound also began to show a twin service that would be a product service that was called Many Ways to Abundance, and this would assist with helping individuals to connect to their inner abundance as they also were connecting to their higher level of self. And like most, this journey for me started off, for the most part, with some ease and, of course, some excitement of having a new business and working with a coach. And, I had a few clients. But I must admit that while I was building my platforms, though I had excellent virtual support, I did not have the environmental support to help me be as successful as I desired. And my family at that time, we were supposed to be in a situation that was going to be a temporary transition to relocate to Phoenix, Arizona. But yet it turned out for me to be a 4-year journey of transformational process of purging and evolution. And so while I was in this environment, there was a lot of unseen pollutants that challenged me on every side, and I do mean every side. The unseen airborne pollutants that were really causing my health to decline. And I had 2 children, I have 2 children rather, and at that time, my children, which they are 11 years apart, so you can just imagine that is a fun journey every day. They are 11 years apart, and at that time, my son was turning 13, and he's now 18. And my daughter was turning 2, and she is now 7. And though during that time I was married, I still really felt like a single parent who had to bear all the responsibilities of everything because my spouse at that time was never consistently supportive on any level, and especially as it related to financial situations or taking care of the kids or anything, or providing any types of emotional support. And so you can imagine that made every situation extremely challenging. And most would say, why didn't you just leave him or get rid of him right away? Well, I must integrate within this conversation that because I am also a minister, there was an outside pressure at that time not to get divorced. But I knew that I had to do something different in order to maximize my potential. And I also want to say that early on as an entrepreneur, I bought into the paradigm, like most, that I had to work hard for everything. And it was as if my ego was running some underlying script of wanting to be some type of martyr that needed to show that you had to put in hard work and persevere under trial so that you could have a big payoff. And because of this, I really felt like I had to work even harder to provide for my family, to accumulate enough resources to move forward from the challenging environment, and also to dissolve the relationship with my spouse. So as we accelerate even more, by the year 2010, I had created a series of health crises, and they manifested into a variety of chronic illnesses. And in turn, I could no longer be consistent with my business endeavors until the latter part of that year. So by 2011, though I was still in the same environment, I did dismiss my spouse, and my life began to start flourishing as I was healing several challenges. And I had once again started creating new endeavors, and including launching a marketing platform. And that year I also became coined as the spiritual multiplicity pioneer. But I must say to you, during those times, I would still get very sick off and on. And though birthing would be successful for me, every time I would give birth to something major, it felt hard. It felt really, really hard. And as we accelerate to June of 2012, I published my first book, and I began training and mentoring other entrepreneurs with writing and publishing their books. And I was once again in a high level of creation mode. And I had a very, very successful 2012. And my creation processes, they came with ease. But I must admit my vibrational system over time had accumulated the energy of everything is hard. And it was like I could not get off of that frequency. It's like my DNA was just calibrating that type of frequency, that it just had to be hard. So as I conclude this accelerated time travel, I'm concluding with sharing that in 2013 and through the mid-2014, I began traveling back and forth to Arizona, and I began setting up my new home work base in Scottsdale, Arizona. And during that time, I came off of the traditional grid of conscious entrepreneurship, and I began designing a lifestyle and a workflow that would be with ease. And with this process, I began to repurpose my platforms by renovating them into new businesses and also evolving my efforts through conscious multiplicity to be a cross-industries entrepreneur and also now a global evolutionary leader. But I must say I am so happy that through my whole process that I can say that I am a cross-industries entrepreneur and global evolutionary leader who is one who has figured out the best ways to birth my endeavors with more ease and support. And that is what I am here to share with this community today.
Wow, thank you for sharing that journey, because that is, it's real, and it really speaks to your credibility of talking about this subject here, because your experience is huge, So I want to ask you a couple of questions here today as we get going here. I want you to tell our audience, why is being a great receiver so important in business?
Yes. And if I can, before I share that, I would actually like to preface, because we're going to get into those 5 cornerstones, I would like to preface that question with providing a bonus already for your audience of what I call the 4 core pillars to anchor within their essence. And this is important to know even before we get into the 5 cornerstones. These 5 core pillars to anchor, number 1 is about establishing accurate alignments. And this is extremely important. As I mentioned earlier about looking at my business ultrasound and not paying attention to that, I didn't see the accuracy of alignment for something else that was already being birthed as I was birthing one creation. And number 2 is about being powerfully positioned through presence and breath. Being powerfully positioned through presence and breath. Mm-hmm. Okay. And the third one is embodying an up-leveled state of receivership. Embodying an up-leveled state of receivership.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then the fourth core pillar is the power of divine right and romance. The power of divine right and romance. And then the fifth core pillar is about creating a celebration continuum. Creating a celebration continuum. Mm-hmm. And this is so important as we move into talking more about receivership, because, again, the overall goal is for us to be able to create ease. And what creates ease within our birthing processes for our endeavors, it's about being in flow. It's about simplifying our visions and learning how to break them down into many but yet measurable tasks. And one of my colleagues named Jazz Jones, she is also a transformational trainer and has a transformational training company. She offers a few distinctions that we really need to be aware of. And that distinction, one of those distinctions is flow versus force.
Mm-hmm.
Flow versus force. And she has an acronym for flow, and it's called Feel, Life, Open, Willingly. Feel, life, open, willingly. And so as we move forward to talk about the importance of receivership and how we need to use receivership as a business ally, it is very imperative. Our number one cornerstone is about employing the energy of receiving.
Okay.
Employing the energy of receiving.
Mm-hmm.
And this creates the opening for greater expansions, Tomasa, and more elevated opportunities, because it allows us to develop what I call a deeper reservoir and capacity for us to take in order to give out from an overflow. And see, anytime you are a giver, and especially a giver in service, you must stay positioned and aligned for receiving, so that you have the internal but also the external resources to share. And I would like to liken this to a grocery store or a department store that gets their regular shipments of goods. You know, they place an order for items so that they will be fully stocked. And normally they don't wait until they run out of merchandise or items. They take inventory and then they pre-order what they need. And once the order arrives to them, they must receive that order. And so if you're familiar with the processes of chain stores or department stores, they have a department that is called shipping and receiving. And as they are putting out, they are also receiving a supply. See, without receiving goods, you will have no supply to serve with. We have to begin to embody employing receivership into our businesses so that we can understand our frameworks will work the same way as receiving goods and having a supply to be able to give out. So if you physically serve, or give without properly receiving the goods for yourself in terms of self-care and all the other things that are going to support your business journey and your personal journey, if you don't have what you need, you won't be in business long. And if you emotionally and mentally exhaust yourself, then you won't have anything to offer. Or even if you do, you won't be able to show up and serve with excellence. And I know this all too well. And this is why I strongly believe that our foundational processes for our endeavors, as it relates to our business, really needs to begin with a high level of receivership before you can begin to execute on a higher level. It's about being rightly positioned for receiving your good. And I focus on this from an aspect of what I call establishing the art of healthy receivership. And one of the best ways to do this is by aligning your path of receiving as a genuine way of lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why it is very important, because especially as women, they have a hard time being able to receive, and we're going to talk about that later in one of the cornerstones from another vibrational vantage point of how receivership is so important. But I think this was a perfect entry point and a foundational introduction to understand, as it relates to business, why we have to see ourselves as the shipping and receiving mode, but it is up to us to cultivate the support conditions and get in the energy of receiving so that we can receive what we need, whether it's from a coach, whether it's outside support. We need to be able to be good receivers in order to be effective entrepreneurs who give and serve.
Mm-hmm. True. Wow. You've got a lot to say here about the birthing process.
Yes. And if I can, do you mind, Tomasa, if I just quickly share what the 5 cornerstones are, and then we can continue to weave in, questions and dialogue? Can I just go ahead and share what the 5 cornerstones are?
Absolutely. Please do. Share them.
Okay, great. So we've covered so far the number 1, and it's about employing the energy of receiving.
Mm-hmm.
And number 2 is about enrolling presence and breath. Enrolling presence and breath.
Okay.
And number 3 is about establishing and implementing a dynamic self and service care plan. Again, that's establishing and implementing a dynamic self and service care plan. And then the 4th,
mm-hmm.
Yes, the 4th cornerstone is enrolling the energy of being showered and supported by the universe. Enrolling the energy of being showered and supported by the universe. And then number 5 is give birth and receive. To give birth and receive.
Very key piece.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Breathe, birth.
Otherwise, what was all this about?
Exactly. But, the interesting thing is, it's easier said than done. Mm-hmm. Most will get to a point where they're so ready to give, and I know we'll get into this later as we talk more about that particular cornerstone. But often we're ready to give and get it out and do all these different things. But when it comes to really the receivership of what comes with that on multiple levels, and not just, from a monetization standpoint, but from a holistic prosperity standpoint. Some people have worked so hard, Tomasa, that they don't even believe that they're even worthy to receive what comes with this level of birthing something so magnificent.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's just take a moment to breathe again.
Yeah.
Let's take a nice deep breath. This is, Tomasa, a season of absolute celebration because there are so many endeavors that are ordained to be birthed during this time. And it is so important that as we are birthing the creations that we've co-created with Spirit to be in this experience, it's important that we also have our inner games mastered, because as it relates to receivership and as we are birthing the next levels of our greatness, we must also make sure that we don't still have those inner gremlins, those subconscious mental projections of illusions and the negativity, things that we have that are so unresolved and limiting beliefs about our greater potential. Sometimes those things can resurface and cause us to self-sabotage our efforts even after we have worked so hard. And often one of the things I've noticed even in my own journey and working with clients was that sometimes we're so close to ourselves that we're not connected to ourselves, that we don't even realize the processes of our own inner evolution that has already taken place, and it's ready to be showcased in the world. But because we still have contrast presence, or we don't see the external manifestations, we don't yet know our magnificence of our personal and professional transformation, and that's why mastering our inner game during this time, especially in the present moment, allows us to shed off what I call the imposter self. The imposter self is not fully showing up in truth and is not fully aware of the higher capabilities or the uniqueness that is ready to come through our expressions. And this is why birthing the next level of yourself and your service is all about being able to shed away the imposter self, because this is a time for us to truly believe in who we are, and not just who we are, who we have prepared ourselves to be, so that we show up confidently, ready to serve from this higher, authentic expression.
So true.
Yeah. Can you relate to that? I'm
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure most. And actually, I want to segue in just a moment to really start talking about getting into the position of, enrolling presence and breath. But I also just want to say, on the note of inner game mastery, that, when you think about great works like the classic movie, The Wizard of Oz, and you hear the stories or you read the stories like The Alchemist, each of those stories provide us with glimpses of our own realities. And in both of those masterpieces, you know, if we recall, we find the examples of individuals who ventured off to find a better way outside of where they were, only to go on the journey and discover that they had all the answers and everything they needed right there with them. And this is true for us. This is why during this time it's important to really trust yourself as you're birthing the next level of yourself, as you are loving yourself even more. Because when we begin to look outside of ourselves for answers, only to discover once again that we are our best resources and our greatest teachers, this helps us to feel even more confident in what we're putting out in the world. And I do want to say this, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that we should never allow outside advice or wisdom to assist us in our journeys. But it is not the goal to become codependent on those aspects consistently, because, again, we have those answers in us, and it's really a time that we can begin operating fully from the divinity that is present, because it's that higher self that's ready to come forward. And so with bringing that higher self forward, I would like to talk about enrolling presence and breath, and this is where the questioning of, you know, what is Entrepreneurial Lamaze, and how is this going to serve and assist entrepreneurs in their overall business alignment. And so what I want to do from a framework perspective to provide a definition is, and there are many definitions that I have, but to quickly share this one, the Entrepreneurial Lamaze experience is, it's an entrepreneur's sacred journey and preparation process for birthing their next innovation of self and service through divine right positioning for what I call the highest levels of alignment, so that they achieve their ultimate success with more ease. And again, that's the goal. And as you mentioned earlier, Tomasa, about birthing and the laboring and what you've been going through with your own processes and the products, and relating it to the experience with your birthing your daughters, you know, just like a woman would enroll in a Lamaze class to get prepared for a smoother or a successful delivery, as entrepreneurs, we need to properly also prepare ourselves for a smoother birthing process for our endeavors as well. And so if you know anything about Lamaze, it is definitely involving a lot of breathing. And so as we enroll presence and breath, we begin to master the art of Entrepreneurial Lamaze, so that we are being correctly positioned for birthing the next levels of our self and service. And this is about powerfully being present. See, when you powerfully begin to get present, this positions you to be versus do. I'm going to say that again. We get positioned to be versus do. There's a lot of doing, but in this process, there needs to be more of our being coming forth. And as it relates to manifesting endeavors or money, I have a saying, if you want to get paid, then you better get present.
Very true.
That's right. You better get present. And it is extremely important to anchor the essence of your being versus the do. See, because if you do, and think that you've got to extend all of this energy to get things done, you're really not in alignment, because being present is about allowing yourself to be in the state that's going to align you with the flow. The present moments, Tomasa, is where all of the power is for us to really get in the flow and stay connected to our ways of being, so that as we're being present, we become more awake to all the aspects that need attention, or also where we might need to be repositioned, you know, because it's about positioning, but sometimes we need to be repositioned. And I also want to share with your community that one of my colleagues, Jazz Jones, that I mentioned earlier, she also talks about how we must be present with our preparation. And I love a distinction that she offers about we need to be aware of preparation versus planning. And she recommends the energy of preparation because it allows us to be more open and not to be limited by hardcore plans, which, again, we want to create flow and more ease. And so even though we create intentions, we must detach, from certain outcomes and expectations of how all of these things will line up. And this is why using, I believe, the distinction of preparation versus planning also allows us to get the wisdom and the insights that will organically flow to move each of us into spontaneous desire, if need be, through preparation without feeling that we have to do everything according to a plan.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like that. I mean, because, the truth is that when we are birthing a child, we are preparing. And so, when you're birthing a project, an entrepreneurial project, I think people forget that you do need to prepare. You need to have your support team there for you.
Absolutely.
That's part of preparation. Not necessarily planning, but it's part of preparation.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So it's very important to have all those pieces. And yeah.
And the breathing. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And the breathing, because the breath is so important. We must also learn to breathe effectively in order to cultivate, again, those right conditions to support us that you're talking about, cultivating those conditions to support the birthing of these new creations. And we want to do this, again, with less stress and more ease. And one of the things I do is I incorporate deep breathing into my business planning and also throughout my day. I just make it an intent to allot several mini sessions throughout my day to just breathe. Even if it's for 2 to 5 minutes, creating many moments for getting present and becoming recentered, through transitioning from task to task. And as we know and we've talked about in the natural birthing process, there's a lot of breathing that takes place. Yes, exactly. There's a lot of breathing that takes place as you're preparing to deliver, and it's very important to focus on the breath because the breath, we know, is the life force, and that not only it infuses us, but it infuses our business, and our precious breath, that is our connection, our true connection to source, power, and supply, and we are sourced here to be divine vehicles of expression, and that's why we're in service to humanity. And this process of the Entrepreneurial Lamaze helps to elevate your breathing and rightly position you through the power of presence so that you can deliver your endeavors at the highest level for success. And, of course, the goal is with more ease.
Nice, yeah. Well, it's interesting that you would say that, just with, my new birthing of my new product, my new product requires breathing. And so the funny thing about it, I found myself in the process, I'd probably say the crowning process.
Yes, exactly. Beautiful analogy.
That I felt like I had to take a pause and really get to the place where I could really, birth it because it was crowning. And so either I could make it hard to, go through, 19 hours of labor, or I could do it in less time or whatever, sort of.
Right.
So, the funny thing about it was I had to take a pause and had to use my own product on myself, which required me to breathe and take a pause and really, settle into it. And then after that, I was able to focus and finish birthing it.
Right, exactly. And that's wonderful. I'm so glad you shared that because, your example from your own personal and professional experience is actually a perfect segue to go into the third cornerstone as you were sharing about how you had to really start using your product, on yourself to up-level your wellness and just your way of being during that time. The third cornerstone is about establishing and implementing that dynamic self and service care plan. And I have to say off the top, I thank Tomasa, because Tomasa's resource, oh my goodness, it is such a global, phenomenal agent of change and wellness, and I have really been thoroughly blessed and up-leveled in my wellness to have that product, especially during this time when I, too, am birthing another level of myself and service. And so as we are establishing and implementing a dynamic self and service care plan, I want to liken this to like a service station, a gas station that, provides a place for refueling, or the convenience stores that they have often attached to them. They have the options for people to explore, whether it's snacks, drinks, magazines, you name it. And there are workers in there to assist everyone with their needs. And we have to learn how to set up these types of self and service care, what I call self and service care stations for ourselves. And within our busy frameworks, this is very important. So when we begin to enroll a line team, as you were talking about earlier, a line team to support our efforts, whether it's having a business midwife, coaches, interns, or even VAs, it's important that we enroll what we need. We set up these service care stations for ourselves, self and service care stations, even for our own convenience at times. Because I want to raise the question, how can we nurture our businesses if we aren't properly nurturing ourselves? Mm-hmm. Bottom line, how can you really fully nurture your business and the people that you serve if you're not nurturing yourself? And one of the things I learned early on is that I had to stop trying to serve my tribe from some type of energetic stipend supply, a stash somewhere that I'm just I'm serving from, and not truly serving from a place of overflow. Mm-hmm. My cup was not full. My tank was not full. And I didn't have the environment or others in my physical world to support that, and I gave out so much that no wonder I got sick, because I was so burnt out that by the time I could really come around to do anything, I was just exhausted. So when we set up our self and service care stations, this is our place to fill up our tanks and to keep them full in order to be most effective. You have to be able to find a rest stop, like when you're traveling, a rest stop for yourself so that you recharge. You have to give pause, just like you were talking about, Tomasa, where you give pause so that you get ready for the next part of your journey. This also involves being present to see what else needs to be reflected on and explored. That's what pause does for us. But if we keep going and going and we don't stop and we say, well, I'll just get off at the next exit, I'll take the break at the next time, it might be too late because we've exhausted so much. That means we've missed present insights. Spending time trying to repair ourselves that we don't even have the energy to clearly hear what life or our business has to say to us. And this is the time, if you don't mind, Tomasa, so that I know we can move forward quickly for time, where, if you don't mind, may I talk about the Spirit Trinity, about enrolling?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Okay, yes. Enrolling the Spirit Trinity. So this is the time where we begin to enroll what I call the Spirit Trinity, and this is to assist you with your business and advance your business endeavors. And this is all about connecting and establishing a deeper communion with Source, yourself, and your service. And when we commune with our Spirit Trinity, it allows us to discover our personal, professional, and spiritual rhythms for the present and emerging next phase. This is where we begin to get more in sync, more in alignment with our personal and our professional cadence, if you will, so that we connect to what I call would be like an external melodic tones, this is for like all of our creations so that everything is in concert. This is a time where what we're doing is like a melody, and everything is in harmony, it's in sync, it's in flow, and that's what we want when we are birthing. This is part of the rhythm and the breathing and the positioning of ourselves, the spirit that is infused in us from connecting with Source and ourselves, and to connect with our service so that everything can be in alignment and in harmony and with ease. And see, this is the type of support that in the present moment we have to have as we are evolving our frameworks so that we ensure holistic success, because that's what the goal is, holistic success, especially as we are bringing creations into the world. But often we get so focused on the new business, the product, the different things, we haven't really taken the time to be present, again, in examining or inventorying who we've evolved to for the next level, this process about connecting as we're birthing to the next level of self in your service. Are you listening to your service, to your business, to your tribe? This is a time we establish a better relationship to hear the voice of our business and connect to the energy of our business and aligning with our Spirit Trinity, because our businesses are about being infused with Spirit, and connecting to Source, evolving to our highest levels of self so that we can play out to the fullest level in service to those we're here to serve. And if I can really quickly, can I share just a few examples of how I've kind of created my own self and service care stations?
Absolutely. Please share that.
Okay. So some of the things that I do, because I am a cross-industries entrepreneur, and it does require me to have my mental capacities in a lot of different areas, but one of the ways that I get very centered and focused in terms of doing things with ease is I create work retreats or work-intensive months for myself. And because, yes, I have to do this, and because I am still on a healing journey from those years of developing a lot of chronic things, a lot of chronic, as you would say, health projects. Developing those, I have to kind of have a retreat-style work flow for myself. I've enrolled support throughout the years through having interns, and I'm actually setting up my intern empire as I will be enrolling another VA and also another higher level executive for another one of my business enterprises. But I've also joined or either was added to accountability challenges, or I began to gravitate wellness, self-care products or resources to help me up-level my wholeness, in which yours was one of those. And I, again, just thank you so much. And
you're welcome.
And also I created a group, Allow, Receive, and Gratitude, and this also helps to continue to have the right energy and stay in the zone for amping up ability and receivership for Thanksgiving. So those are just a few things that I'm doing to make my process easier. And also another one that I would like to talk about is about enrolling the energy of being showered and supported by the universe. So, Tomasa, can I quickly get into that? I think this would be an exciting part for you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
Please share that.
Tomasa,
I love that.
Like she's taking over. She's just taking it all over. Okay.
No, it's fine. I'm listening. Go ahead.
Oh, great. Okay. So this is why I believe conscious entrepreneurs should really consider incorporating what I call business event showers or business birthing showers when they are ready to launch their endeavors. And so when you want to be supported by the universe, again, this is about high level of receiving. So we know anytime that we're birthing that next level of success, a higher level of celebration is always in order. This is no different, again, than when a woman has a baby or a bridal shower, a few months before she gives birth or before she's getting married. These are monumental events that you create. And so I came up with a concept for creating business birthing showers, and this is really about helping women entrepreneurs celebrate the launching of their major business endeavors in a very profound way. And having an event series of events, I believe, leading up to and after your launch are just awesome. I mean, as women, we need
it's kind
support.
Of like I'm having this equinox party.
Absolutely, that is it. No, yes, Tomasa, that is a perfect baby birthing launching shower of introducing your creation into the world. And women need this type of support in their business agendas. And what better way to grow an amazing community of support than to have a business birthing shower? And having a business birthing shower, I would say, I mean, it's so awesome because you are treating your endeavor like it's VIP, it's elite. It's the elite status of importance. And it also shows your tribe and other prospects that you are very serious about your business. And this is an amazing, amazing and creative way to not only grow your community, but it also helps you to receive the support on multiple levels. And whether it's something like having something as simple as a fan page like shower or doing a virtual or live event like you're doing, having people to support you, and sometimes having people to support you on a higher level with making investments or gifting you with coaching scholarships, lending you their VA, buying new domains, promoting products. The list goes on. Whatever you need, it can be supplied. And that, in turn, is going to save you a lot of time and also resources that you can begin to allocate those fundings into other areas. So this also begins to increase your income, and you can do more when you incorporate these types of events.
Well, I just love how you say that. It's just metaphorically relates to business because, I have sponsorships. And so those sponsorships are kind of like, I've got, my holistic hairdresser who's kind of the host.
Yeah.
She's hosting me. She's let me have it at her salon. And then I got hosts bringing in the food. And then I got other people doing the goodie bags, how you give something out.
Exactly. Yeah, and I mean, that is so wonderful. And it really just amps up and creates, such an energy, such a vibration of celebration. And the thing about it is the momentum of celebration, it is a vibration. And then it calibrates into the next level of all the other things that you're going to bring forth. And so with that being said, the fifth cornerstone, since you have given birth, and we're so thankful, the fifth cornerstone is about giving birth and receive. How we learn to incorporate all of these different dynamics through the pillars and the cornerstones so that we birth our business projects with ease. We receive the desired harvest from our efforts. This is the time that we practice elevated, and I do mean elevated celebration and up-leveled receivership for enjoying the fruits of your labors and your creations. It's time to know that you are worthy of that which you have co-created to put out into the world. And quickly, I just want to share another distinction that's offered by Jas Jones, where she talks about celebration versus anticipation. And as I mentioned in the 5 pillars, that we need to have continued celebration throughout the process. And this is something I've really learned to incorporate for myself. It's time to really find uncommon ways to celebrate, and we don't have to wait until after everything is over or out to celebrate. We continue to breathe and exhale now. There's no waiting to exhale in this phase. We are continuing to exhale. We're continuing to exhale now. Yes, we're continuing to celebrate, and this puts us in the higher zone of receivership because leading up to the apex of the birthing of this higher creation, as you mentioned that you were crowning and now it's out, celebration, and I get excited about this, celebration just allows us to acknowledge each level. So you've been present to celebrate and acknowledge each level of the birthing. And so when we're in this zone of a higher level of receivership, we begin to gravitate to us, but not only gravitate, emerge without of us the holistic prosperity to receive it all. We celebrate, and the more we celebrate the energy of receivership and the more this is implemented into the process, we begin to get recalibrated. And so it's just that time. People often, they give, but they don't take the time to receive that which is coming to them from that which they have created. So I thank you for allowing me to share that, because it's really time to truly find uncommon ways to celebrate, honor, and receive your harvest.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for sharing all those cornerstones and giving us the examples and just the metaphor, and just how you metaphorically speak is just like beautiful. It's like beautiful poetry that we can relate to in real life. So.
Oh, thank you. I've been finding my personal cadence and professional cadence and rhythm to get in sync with, with the present moment of my own embodiment of self that's birthing at this time and service that's coming forth. And I just thank you so much for birthing your project and also, Tomasa, just the dynamic essence that you are, and also watching you birth yourself, the next level of yourself through this process. It has really been a joy to see your evolution and transformation, even in this short duration of time that I've known you.
Oh, thank you, dear. I'm really just trying to show up in the world the way the Spirit wants me to show up here in the world.
And you do that very well. You do that very well.
Well, I think you do it very well too, my dear.
Thank you.
I know we're a little bit after the top of the hour, and
yes.
I know you have some wonderful gifts to share with our listeners.
Yes,
so you want to go ahead and share that? Okay.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about what you got going on, girl.
Absolutely. So as a continuation, and I pray that I didn't over-deliver with overwhelm, but I would like to continue to support your community by providing a mini VIP virtual retreat on Saturday from 12 to 1 p.m., and the recording will be provided. And the name of this is called Breathe, Push, and Birth Your Next Levels of Success. And this retreat was specifically designed for your community, and some of the things that we'll cover will be how to examine your business or project ultrasound for identifying your launch endeavors and creating a timeline and a tentative due date for your launch. And we're going to also expand more on incorporating the business, what I call the business Lamaze in this framework. And also Reverend Cindy Harris is going to join me, and she's going to share about how to create sacred space for your birthing process. And so we have a whole lot, how you're going to enroll business midwives and begin to create your dynamic team, and also how to successfully create a series of birthing showers, those types of events to create the momentum and the increase that you need before, during, and after your launch. And also this is going to be a time of embodying the divine feminine essence so that we serve from that place of our feminine power in order to serve at the highest level. And the next offering is for them to be able to join the Business Lamaze Network. It's a private group on Facebook.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the last offering is called Birth Your Mini Book Now session. It is a special offer. It's regularly $4.97, and I will be offering it for $97. And in this session, it's about creating a 24-hour turnaround book project that will be published within 48 hours. And this is going to Yes, using existing content from current blog posts, articles, social media posts, whatever, or different ideas. And so in order to receive that one, they would need to email me actually at info at AliciaWatersCrossIndustries.com. And for them to receive these gifts, they can visit www.AliciaWatersCrossIndustries.com and click on the tab that says Tea Topic Special Offers.
Yeah, we are, and for those of you who are on the webcast, I believe if you look to the left of the screen there, you'll see a button there that has Alicia's gifts and offers. And if you just click on that link there, it will take you to this page that Alicia just said, go to AliciaWatersCrossIndustries.com and hit T-Top with gifts and offers. So you can continue to look there, and you'll find it on the screen there if you're on the webcast. So thank you for sharing that, Alicia. That's so generous of you to share your knowledge and wisdom to the group and to also help them on this journey. And that's just amazing that, you can help people produce a book in 48 hours.
Oh yes. Well, they'll have it done in 24, and for them to tweak or whatever, we'll take the opportunity. But within 48 hours, they will be a published author.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And do you actually have them published online or,
Yeah, they will actually, what I do is I use a platform that's called CreateSpace. It's a company of Amazon. And they have a process where you complete your book, and within 24 hours they give you the okay, as long as the interior doesn't have any bleedings in the margin. They get, in 24 hours, once you approve it, your book is up and ready to go, and they provide free distribution channels through Amazon, Amazon Europe, and also expanded distribution and, Barnes and Nobles and many different others. And so the goal is to take away any excuse of becoming published, and I can show them how to really successfully create the creations within 24 hours and become published.
Wow, that's amazing. So, wow, thank you. Thank you.
With ease.
Yeah. So I think, if you want to be a published author, you want to do it fast and quick with what you already have. I love how you can take stuff and repurpose it, because that's really what it's all about. And that's where we have ease, because we feel like we have to sit down and write that book, when really a lot of it is already written and maybe somewhere blog post or even, so and content that we've created. For instance, when I created this product, it's just been repurposed. It was originally audio, so this new one is more video, and I tweaked some things. And so, I already had these diagrams I had done from a webinar like 2 years ago, and so it was like, okay, let's tweak them. Let's get the graphic artist to do that. So, yeah, you can just make a few tweaks, and bam, you can have something pretty quickly. So,
absolutely.
I love how you shared that. So, I want to thank you for showing up fully here today and sharing your gifts and sharing your ideas. And I love how you speak in metaphors, and I believe we all can relate to it, especially women who have given birth. And I love this new concept of, having showers for our businesses rather than product launches. We have product showers or entrepreneurial showers.
Absolutely.
And how everybody comes in and brings into the potluck.
That's exactly. Absolutely. That's potluck product shower.
I think we have to write a blog about that.
We need to do that. Absolutely. The potluck.
How you can turn potluck into sponsorships.
Exactly. But do you see how easy, I know we're over, but do you see how easy that is? The concepts, the simplicity of everyday concepts that we take and apply into our business. Sometimes it's not so much about the techniques and the framework. Sometimes it is something very simple. This allows our processes to become easy. Potluck.
I totally agree with you, because we all can relate to doing a potluck. But if we say, hey, go get a sponsorship, it's like the words are like, oh my God, that sounds like a lot of work and hard, you know. But if you look at it as, you know what, would you like to contribute to my potluck here? And if you look at the concept there, then it becomes a little different, you know, like, yeah, I can do this. So I love it. It doesn't have the stigmatism of, I got to go get a sponsorship and write a proposal.
Right.
Oh, my God.
Yes. And that brings ease. And the question, you know, that was asked earlier in that blog post is, on your business Labor Day or your product Labor Day, will you birth with ease or effort? The choice is yours. The choice is yours.
Yes. So thank you, dear. I know we've got past time, but you've shared abundance of information, and you've given just a beautiful gift. So, you know, I wasn't originally going to make this available to listen to. I'll see what I can do because I'm busy, and my VA is gone now these days.
Right.
So, what I'm going to try to do is put it up tonight and send out an email for everyone.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do here. And the next 48 hours, we'll get this out and let people listen to it. And, you know, and if they can't listen to it, here's the thing, they'll be able to purchase it for $20, I believe, is what we set that price at.
Oh, great. Wow.
So, and it's not just this, but it's everything, you know, all the topics I've had the entire year.
Incredibly generous.
Yeah, it is a very generous offer, so. I thank you, dear, and